Welcome back to another Semen Retention Sunday episode here on the Regal Change account. This topic is going to be very pertinent to many different types of people, but I don't want you to use this for evil, okay? Because when you know these things, you can use them for good or you can use them for evil. But you can also be in a place of timelessness where good and evil doesn't necessarily need to exist. Good and evil can just be part of the plane of consciousness for you. It doesn't have to be something that you are highly enveloped in. So your identity is ultimately going to be your destiny. And so if you can curate your identity, you can curate your destiny. Now, we also have to recognize that whether or not free will really exists doesn't really matter. What matters is we can act as if we have free will, and in doing that, it gives us power. It gives us the sense of power, and it gives us this unique perspective in which we can simply live in accordance to that which is true and let die what is false. So when it comes to semen retention, knowing this and knowing that there are basically two types of lower functionalities that exist in all human beings. Number one is the drive and the impulse for survival, and that is the basic lowest function, right? Self-preservation, you might call it. Number two is the sexual impulse. So these are the two most strong biological factors that exist for a human being. You can, once you know how to control and master your own self, you can potentially manipulate others. Now, I'm not advocating for this type of behavior, because don't use this knowledge for evil, right? But I'm a firm practitioner of applied wisdom. So applied wisdom is where you know about certain things happening or you know about certain things going on, but you don't let it hinder your ultimate progress or your perception of how you want to actually live your life. So if you can actually embody wisdom in its proper form, because, well, proper form is timeless form, but we can't really do that here in this three-dimensional plane, right? Because life is a lot like water, this flowing water here. And I specifically chose this spot for this video because it is absolutely paramount for us to recognize the flow of life and the flow of nature. Once you know how to control your own flow destination, you can control the other people's flow and destination around you. They become, in a sense, fluid putty in your hands to some degree. And with semen retention, you're going to be able to harness this power. Now, there are pros and there are cons to this power. You might not even know that you're doing it until you realize it, which is actually a good thing. But if you're doing semen retention with the full, because it's not like a magical benefit, but it is kind of magical if you first start to experience it. If you first start to experience it, it is going to be seeming like it's magic. And it's going to have the characteristic that you have more power than you initially thought. And you do have more power than you initially thought. But don't get drunk on the power. So how do you apply the self-preservation and the sexual discipline? It's not really the discipline, it's more of the impulse, right? Because I mentioned this in a video that I did yesterday, is that discipline for discipline's sake is just running from yourself. So if you're doing semen retention just for the sake of doing semen retention, you're not going to get any benefits. Now, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that when it comes to semen retention, benefits are just part of actually exploring the godlike mastery qualities of who you really are. Godlike mastery is your nature. Godlike mastery is who you really are. You are the commandments, right? For all intents and purposes, you are love itself. You are loving awareness. You've just thought that your thoughts exist and other people, quote unquote, exist. Whereas in reality, or rather what I like to call the truthful real rather than the real truth, the truthful real is that we are all one being. We are all one organism living in different forms. And this is beautiful, but it's also kind of terrifying when you first start to recognize it. And with semen retention, you're going to merge more and more with the soul of existence, or that's what I call God. You're going to merge more and more with the soul of existence until you start to see that there is no other. In fact, it can be kind of nerve-wracking because you start to feel like you're dying. And if you want to use the power of manipulating the self-preservation or the sexual impulse for evil, you are going to, instead of allowing your old self to die, what you're going to do is you're going to try to control the perception of life through other people because you want to feel like you have control again. And if you want to feel like you have control again and you have a hold on things, you're going to project your shadow onto other people. So if you have a lack of integration of the shadow, what's going to happen is there's not going to be a lot of structure in your life. Now, if you don't have the integration of the anima in your life, then you're going to lose out on creative faculties. And so you need both the shadow integration as well as the anima integration to have the structural and the creative faculties intact. So semen retention and celibacy allows you to have a firm vessel in which you can explore these psychological functions of your well-being in a way that's not going to hinder you or other people just for the sake of it. So you're going to have this sense of purity about you, and it's not going to be purity because you're actually trying to be pure. It's going to be purity in the sense that you just are who you are. And that's going to be a very beautiful thing. But it takes some practice. It takes some discipline until you don't need the discipline anymore. Because the discipline that you need is discovered. Like, remember what Mike Tyson said about somebody, was it Cuss that he talked about, his old coach? Where discipline is doing something that you hate, doing like you love it. Now that's true, but do you want to do something that you hate, doing it like you love it, just because you hate it? Or do you want to do it like you love it because, whoa, the wind is picking up. We're definitely in the flow right now, and it's very fitting. There's something about being next to water that is so soothing and comfortable, right? I mean, I know it's a man-made, flow thing, but man, it's so comforting to be around the sound of water. And perhaps next time I'll go to a river or something, because there are rivers nearby where I live. But anyway, so Mike Tyson talked a lot about how doing something that you hate and doing it like you love it. Oh, look, a bee. Oh, wait, no, that's a wasp. Anyway, yeah, don't do something that you hate because you hate it. Do something that you don't like to do because you know that there's going to be something beneficial for you on the other side. You're giving yourself a form of discipline through something like semen retention, not because you want to be perfect, but because you want to realize that you were already perfect to begin with, but you're choosing your identity now. Semen retention allows you to choose your identity in a way that it wouldn't have been chosen otherwise. Now, you might think, okay, going back to the free will thing, right? You might think, well, but I do have free will. It's like, okay, if you have free will, you have free will. Who cares? Like, seriously, who cares? What matters is how you choose to respond and interact with yourself and with others following that. That resignation of surrender of self, or the integration of self totally. Now, the integration of self is acting as if you have free will, but not really getting hung up on it, because there might be a lot of shame that comes with that if you recognize that you do have free will and you've made all these decisions and such. Like, I put out a poll a few days ago regarding the are you a product of the decisions that you made or your circumstances? And not that it was a trick question, but the correct answer is both. Because you can be a product of the decisions you choose, but the decisions that you choose might be a byproduct of your environment and the way you grew up. But your decisions also might be a byproduct, or your environment might be a byproduct of your decision making. So it depends, right? It depends on how you choose to identify with yourself as yourself. So there's many different types of domains and faculties in which goes into this. And semen retention is the vessel in which allows you to explore these different domains and these more beautiful domains. It's not to say that there isn't anything to it, or that there's that you need to get hung up on these things. It's simply the fact that there's this inner recognition that needs to take place. And if you don't have the inner recognition that takes place, then everything else that you do in semen retention really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So why would you do something and be dedicated to something if it doesn't really matter? I mean, that would be insanity, right? It would be insanity. So the antidote here then, psychologically as well as spiritually, is to acknowledge the inner standing that you have. I'm going to move a little bit because, man, it's like one side of my face is just burning right now. But, oh yeah, there we go. That's better. So really, the expectations that you have on semen retention must be let go. If you don't know how to let go of your expectations of semen retention, you're going to try to do evil things without knowing that it's evil. You're going to try to manipulate other people. You're going to try to manipulate your finances. And you can do these things, right? Like, you can truly manipulate the fabric of reality. But you can't always do that without it slapping you in the face back. So it's not to say that you don't have the power to bend the fabric of reality. It is simply the case that if you choose to partake in the activities of trying to bend the fabric of reality on semen retention, or you're trying to make other people believe certain things about what you're going through, about what they need to believe. Like, I don't force people to believe anything. As freely as people come, my hands are open. As free as people come, so too they are allowed to leave. Because I'm not trying to cling to anything. I'm not trying to push anything either. I'm accepting it as it comes, because I know that the people that are resonating with the sovereign signal that I'm putting out are going to recognize that, they're going to understand that, and they're going to pursue the totality and the meaning of life in such a profound way that they have no choice but to transform, because it's their destiny. And you can't really rob people of their destiny. Okay, and on semen retention, the destiny that you are experiencing is going to be revealed to you. Women want to live in the present moment. Men want to be on a mission. And for a lot of the spiritual warriors out there that are on semen retention, what most warriors want, what are the things that a warrior wants more than anything? A good death, a good honorable death, right? So in order to have that good honorable death that does not need to take place out here, quote unquote, it needs to take place in here, the inner war. Until there is peace in the inner war, there is no peace outside. And this is the juxtaposition that we have to simply face as a species, but also the recognition of why we are the way that we are, and living in such a way that produces good fruit, or it puts us in a setback. But even the setback is grace. That's the other thing you have to know when it comes to semen retention. Everything that happens to you is grace. Not just on semen retention, but in everyday life, on all forms of life. Everything that happens to you is grace. And so you can simply be in this inexhaustible energy and be ever evolving and ever changing. Or you can reject the change and try to manipulate other people using your spiritual power for evil. It's really what it comes down to, guys. You might say that's black and white, but it kind of is. Holy smokes, it's hot. Super hot. I mean, I like it, don't get me wrong. I like the warmth. But wowzers, it is warm. It's very, very warm. But I hope that this video was useful and insightful for you. I hope that everybody stays blessed. Apply to the Godlike Mastery offer that I have if this resonates with you and you have the financial resources to invest in yourself like this. Or if you're more looking for a community to join, we have classes available as well as weekly group calls available in the Regal Academy. And I'm doing a live class in the Academy for the premium tier members next week, a week from today, at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, May 17th, 2026. So this will be a class on mobile independence psychology. And there's going to be a lot of great information in there about how to develop the embodiment psychologically to be the type of person to be mobile. I mean, I've been very, very mobile this last few weeks, and I'm really integrating this more and more. I've always known that I'm capable of this, but now I'm choosing to step into that more because that's who I want to be. I want to embody the vision of being more of a traveler. Not because I want to travel, but because that's what the spirit of the time is calling me to do. So I'm allowing the soul of existence to speak through me and be in certain places as I go. So with all that being said, I hope that this message was useful and insightful for you. Stay blessed. Peace. Until next time.